Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming. I believe that dating and job hunting are very similar. It feels ridiculous. If you're single or out of work, you'll just tell anyone. It seems unfair when this stupid girl got a really good job, or the good boyfriend for that matter. And then you put on your best behavior, and you wear cute outfits and then clean underwear, especially at the beginning. And then there's always a tipping point where you say something really weird. And then you can tell how you're doing. And so from my dating example, and I really don't want this to leave the room, but I really like eating crunchy fishtails. Yeah, I know. So here we are. We're at that awkward moment. You guys are like, ew. And so when I met my husband, he was like, my God, they're the best. And I was like, okay, I'm doing good. So likewise, oh, and by the way, I'm very particular. If you see me at a party, don't just give me your throwaway fishtails. I mean, I'm a little particular. Anyway, just a little shrimpy ones. So about a year and a half ago, I was celebrating a decade of teaching hot yoga, which was fun. Similar problems to movie theaters, people, towels, vomiting. And I realized that I really needed a grown-up job, and I wanted one of those like government jobs. And every time I did a search, it would say, hey, do you want to work at 911? And I was like, and then the pay is good. And I was like, okay. And there's same thing. People come into yoga studios freaked out all the time. So I was like, okay. So I went through the application process. The application process for me took about 8 months. And it was the most insane process. I mean, the good news is if you do call 911, people are so incredibly trained. There were 16 tests. There was a 4-hour polygraph, peed in a cup, took a physical fitness test, but that was towards the end. In the middle of all of this, right, once I passed all of the book tests and all of the ridiculous like personality tests, came the home visit. And this was like marking the end of the book work. And then once she gave you a thumbs up, then it's sort of, you're probably going to get a job from an agency, and you just slide. So this woman comes to my house. The funny thing is, it was the day after the Grand Slam, and they lost my kids on the school bus the day before. So I was at this point where I was like, I don't even believe this. I applied in February. It's the end of September. Oh, so she comes in, and she's a retired pedophile investigator person. She looks like Helen Mirren. She's like crisp, gorgeous hair. She's like, listen, you can tell me everything, and the whole part of the process is just don't lie. And they say that again and again, don't lie. And we go through some things, and we talked about the guy that I hit that one time, and blah, 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 because you have to. And I was going to like maybe withhold, but then I'm like, wait a minute, I go to the Moth all the time, and I'm on YouTube. I can't lie about these things, thank you. So things are going good, okay? And then I kind of get to my shrimp tail problem where she looks at me and says, now, just so we're on the same page, how would you define beastiality? Now, I'm a little deaf in one ear and words rhyme for me, so I'm like, what else would rhyme with bestiality? Nothing, really nothing. And I said, I think bestiality is having sex with animals. And then Helen Mirren said, could you be more specific? And I'm like, you want more? She said, well, how would you define it more broadly? Because we're going to be talking about sexual fetishes, and I want to make sure we all agree on the same lingo. Sex with animals, but more specific. Well, I mean, I suppose it's like you're in a southern state, and it's a, and then it's a lonely cowboy, and then he's got like the big belt buckle from the rodeo, and he pulls his pants off and his underwear, and she's just looking at me, and I'm like, oh my, and I'm in this hole, and I can't get out of it. It's the problem of having the gift of the gab is when you're in the hole, you know it. And I said, and she's just looking at me. And I said, I guess he would then take his erect cowboy penis and put it in an orifice of an animal. And I'm so horrified. I'm 7 months in, and I've said the word cowboy penis at my final interview. The worst part is she looks at me, pulls down her glasses, and said, "That's a little too detailed." So the end of the story is 4 weeks after that, I got the call. "We'd like to hire you." It was Monday, October 19th. Thank you. They do like people that are detail-oriented. So, and I started work October 21st. Like the oceanographer, though, I am not answering calls from crazy people. I actually work in the admin side, and I do accounting work kind of things. But anyway, at the end of the day, sometimes if you blurt out cowboy penis in the middle of a job interview, it might work to your advantage.